I mean,
Well, I mean, there were
it's
quite a
not,
few
no, but
nights.
it sounds. Sorry, it sounds like I did that for 3 weeks. And that's a lot. But you think about what Christ did. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's really true. That is. But
3 weeks, Christ. I don't know, man.
I mean, he's a timeless being, so
Yeah.
I guess. But anyway, that just kind of adds to it, really. Uh, but yeah. So I do this, and then Elizabeth starts responding. She says that she's ready to start coming to counseling with me, and we start to work through these things and communication. And it was really a big time for me to get my act together and get the selflessness in there for about, I'm being selfless because of Christ, not because I'm, motivated for the wrong reasons. And that started to show. And things really started to get better. She started to help again with the chores. She started to sleep. She moved back into our bedroom, um, and it was starting to be good. And we were working together, and I had to fire a guy for coming in to work high. And one night, someone walked into the movie theater. I mean, you have to understand, you're cleaning this place at midnight. It's a big place, and it's freaky. She and I were in the same theater cleaning, and this guy walks into the main lobby, and he's screaming, "Where are you? I know you're here!" And we freaked. I mean, I grabbed Elizabeth's hand. I ran out the exit door. I ran around as quickly as I possibly could, got into the car, and drove away and called the cops.
Who was that?
It turned out to be a employee of the theater messing around with his boss. Um, but I mean, they felt really bad. But Elizabeth was so shooken up. I took her home. I called in two people to come and cover the shift because she was really freaked out. She was shaking, and I'm going through this counseling thing right now. What comes first, my job or my wife?
Right.
My wife.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, she really needed me, so I went home, stayed with her at home that night. She calmed down. Next morning, I get a call from the owners. Apparently, the people who I had sent never showed up to clean the place. So the place was trashed the next morning. And she is freaking out. And basically, I've never had anyone treat my business this way. And I told her, look, I will come up this morning and clean it before the theater opens. But I was not going to leave Elizabeth at home in this house in the middle of the woods by herself after that. I mean, she was terrified. And she said, you know what? I don't care. You're fired. She was a bit of a temperamental woman. Um, so now we come in to a big part of my story. 2 days later, I'm still in this routine of staying up at night. So it's like 5 a.m. I get this prompting from the Spirit. You need to apply at this company again that I had tried several times since I had gotten fired back in the spring previous. I said, all right. So I applied. I get a call that day. We'd like you to come in for an interview on Monday. Come in for an interview, get the job, go take my phys ed exam. I pass. I start. It's going great. It's a warehouse job. My first week on the job, I'm ahead of what normally is done for production. And Friday, I take the last big load Friday night. I'm going to impress my supervisors. Like, I don't know if you can get it done. I got it. I can get it done. And I'm flying. I'm moving. I am rushing through my work. I am really not paying attention to my surroundings. And I get under this piece of shelving. And you got to understand, if you've ever worked in a warehouse, you're talking about 6, 7 stories high of solid steel
Sure.
shelving.
Yep. Yep.
And this box was stuck underneath it. So I went under it, shook it, and it came up. And I was bent down, lifting properly. And I shot up and I hit the base or the top, of the shelving.
Yeah.
And you know how when you hit something, like it stops you, but you can feel it move?
Yes.
Well, it didn't move. I moved in response.
Oof.
And that's the last thing I remember until my Puerto Rican coworker was waking me up. And I got up. I walked for about 15 minutes driving that electric pallet, and then I fell off. It's a miracle it didn't run me over. I would have lost a leg or an arm or my head. I mean, those things will kill you. And same guy comes over, helps me into the office. Like, do you want to go to the hospital? No. It's a concussion. I know it's a concussion. They're going to tell me to go home, have Elizabeth wake me up every 2 hours, and to ice my head. I'm not going to go spend $1,000 to be told you have a concussion. Thank you very much.
Right.
So Really, it was workman's comp, so I shouldn't have been worried, but I wasn't thinking in those terms. I never think of anyone really taking responsibility for my stuff. It's my stuff. It's my
Sure.
junk. I'm going to take
Yeah.
care of it. Um, but so I go home.
Male pride, maybe.
No, you know me. And this was one of them. And I go home. My in-laws were actually passing by, so they picked me up. My mother-in-law drove the car home, or I'm sorry, my father-in-law drove my car home. My mother-in-law drove me home in their car, and I get home. I rest for 2 days, and I'm still I'm walking on the walls, like, to get around. But I'm thinking, to get better, I'll get to work and get going, and I'll just take a slower day. I'm in the shower. I love hot showers. Hot water heats up, made the head swell up, and I fall back and I beat my head off the back of the shower twice.
Wow.
I pass out. Elizabeth heard two thuds, so I when I fell back, I obviously hit it off, but she thinks that when I hit the tub, I slammed it again. She comes in. It took her like 4 or 5 minutes to get me to wake up, and things are really going really good for our marriage at this point. By the way, like, it's awesome. Like, probably the best that it ever had been at that point, up to that point. And she goes, "So you ready to go to the doctor's now? To go to the hospital now?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay, let's go." So they take me to the emergency room. My mom comes with us. They walk in. Yeah, you've got some kind of a concussion. Go home and ice it. Blah blah blah. They tried to push the passing out in the shower and vagal vagal. Go to workman's comp. Long story short, workman's comp can't help me. They're trying to force me to go back to work. I can't walk. If I closed my eyes, I'd fall. I couldn't even stand. I was held onto Elizabeth to be able to walk, like my arm slung around her shoulder. And I'm a good 60 pounds at that time, heavier than her. Now more. The work comp doctor, the last day that I see him, he has the nurse leave, and she goes, like, I really shouldn't do that. And he says, just, it's okay, just leave. And he tells me, look, I can't help you. I can't take you out of work. My job is to send you back to work. But I've made an appointment for you with your neurologist. Is there another doctor you can see who will take you out? And I asked, will my chiropractor work? And he said, that'll work. They won't like it, but they have to respect it. Have him write you a note. My chiro took me out of work till further notice. I go to see the neurologist. I didn't walk for about 2.5, 3 months.
Wow.
And I go to the neurologist, and she wants to put me on a pill she says, we're going to put you on this pill for about a year. You have to understand, everything is spinning for me constantly. When I got around, for the first couple of weeks, I army crawled. Eventually, I was able to crawl on all fours to get around. I mean, my wife is dressing me, bathing me, feeding me. When you want to talk about a humbling experience, it was like I turned from a fully functioning adult into an infant. Except I weighed a lot more. And I hope I didn't whine as much. But the first couple of weeks were really hard. It was humiliating. I was angry. I was really angry with God. I'm like, God, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm treating my wife like I should. And you do this to me. What's the deal? Well, anyway, go to the neurologist. She wants to give me this pill that's going to make you more dizzy and make things worse. But it's what you need to be able to, in order to heal. Oh. So I take it. I'm supposed to be on this for a year, meaning I'm not going to be able to work for a year. During the course of this time, my in-laws say, hey, because I had to have someone taking care of me 24/7, but my parents both worked. There was no one who really could come and take care of me I couldn't get myself to the bathroom. And we didn't have the money to pay for someone. Mm-hmm. So, again, workman's comp, ha ha ha. But my in-laws offered for us to move in with them, and that was a godsend, so we did. And my mother-in-law took care of me. She and my brother-in-law and father-in-law would get me to the bathroom when I needed to and help me with stuff, and while Elizabeth was able to work. While I'm seeing the neurologist, I'm not making any progress. I'm trying to do these exercises that she's given me to rebuild proprioception. It's the ability to know where your feet are without looking, basically. You know it by feeling, and I didn't have any of that. And nothing's working. Go to my chiro, we're trying adjustments, nothing working. Well, he has got this new thing called light therapy. It's using light energy to stimulate the nerve endings and to jumpstart the synaptic pathways in the brain, basically, by forcing electricity through. Well, he does it. And the first time he does it, I go from wobbling around with a cane, barely being able to stand, relying on my wife, to be able to walk full pace, jump up and down, run for 4 hours. After 4 hours, the effects start to wear off and I go back to what I was. We continue with the therapy and it starts to long last. The neurologist is blown away. She sends me to physical therapy. And I asked the physical therapist, should I keep doing this? Hey, if it's working, you keep doing it. And within 4 months, when I should have not been able to have overcome this within any less than a year, I was functioning again. And I got a job up here because we had moved.
Desk job.
Yeah, I got a desk job, put on a little weight. I was a student loan debt collector. Yeah, debt collectors don't like me when they call my friends because I know the rules and they break them and I get them in trouble with the government. It's fun. Or the corporation, I should say. But anyway, I started working at this place and it's a pretty good job. I like it. It's a debt collecting. Hey, you know how to present information a certain way? It's kind of like reverse sales. Unlike sales where I'm trying to get you to buy me something, you have to pay me. I'm just talking you into it now. So it was fun. I'm not going to lie. And I made some really good money. I mean, I made $2,000 or $3,000 bonuses most months because I hit my goals. And my best month, I think I made like $4,500, $5,000 before taxes in a bonus, not my hourly.
Nice.
It was good stuff. Well, my wife, we got pregnant in July of that year, like right before I went back to work when I got that job. And I've got this job, and my wife, we're going to our church, and we hear about this other young family. We meet this other young family known as the Swansons. Well, my wife meets Sam's wife, Mandy, and she had just had a child a few months previous in May. And they're talking. They're both really into the natural way of doing things. And after the ladies met, I was involved with our youth group as a youth leader. And Sam and Mandy hosted our Nimrod party or Christmas party. And at the Christmas party, we do, what's it called? Elephant gift exchange or whatever? I forget.
White elephant?
White elephant gifts. There we go. And I got this chessboard that Sam really wanted. I said, I'll let you keep it. We got to play chess. And you know what, guys? We still haven't played chess.
Man, we got to do that.
Not tonight.
Not tonight.
Anyway, so we meet then. And then in January, shortly after the New Year, we come over one Sunday after church for pizza. And we're talking. And
oh, goodness.
And hanging out.
The epic pizza excursion.
This
is where.
Yeah.
So this is I'll just talk a little bit because this is like the point in which I decided, you know what? I was going through my paradigm shift at this.
Sam started about 6 weeks before me, I think it was, wasn't it?
Maybe something like that. And I'm learning about all this law stuff and birth certificate stuff and Dan, so I'm like, I'm going to try some of these meanings of words stuff out that I'm learning from Leonard Ulrich and, other people. And I tried out on Dan in the car. He's like, that there's a lot of truth to that. Maybe like it was the first time like I got a reaction from somebody that didn't think I was nuts because I had tried it on some other people here and there, but I was like, all right, I'm not going to go any further. They think I'm nuts, but Dan was the first person where I was like, okay, maybe he shares this type of view or is open to it because this is where I'm at right now. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of cool for me, at least. I'll just say meeting Dan at that time, it was like, thank God somebody else can at least open up to this because my wife thinks I'm crazy. And so does everybody else.
You have to understand, too, when we first got here, Sam brought me down to the studio we're sitting in now and showed me all his music. And I'm like, this is cool. Sam, you're going to learn more about this next month, but he's a music buff. I mean, he's the walking library of music knowledge, okay? He's given this look right now. It's true. He's very humble.
No. I'm not a music buff to that degree.
Anyway, he okay, compared to me, he's like, knows everything.
Yeah, but see, I should have spent my life studying the Bible.
Yeah.
So now I'm trying to catch up on the Bible at an adult age, when I
That
should have been studying it the whole time, like Dan.
Yeah, like me, learning to control and manipulate and do wonderful things to people.